I'm so honored. Yeah. One greetings to you all once again. My name is Rashid Aliu. I'm a founder. I'm a co-founder at Green Renewables. So what we do basically is we are trying to solve waste and energy daily problems in Africa using technology as our forerunner. So Green can be say has more interest and to truly represent what we want to achieve here in terms of waste to wealth economy and in solving climate change or mitigating climate change, whichever way we would like to put it. So for the topic today, I was being asked to talk about waste to wealth. And I would have loved to share my flyer, but because of the unforeseen circumstance, I couldn't make that ready for this presentation. But in as much, I'll try as much to do justice without the without the presentation slide. So the concept of waste to wealth is focused on transforming waste material into valuable resources, thereby creating economic opportunity while simultaneously addressing environmental challenges. So it represents a shift from traditional linear take, make, and dispose model. Are you with me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, sir.
Okay, ma. So it's a shift, as I said, from the traditional linear take, make, and dispose model to a more circular economy. And you might want to ask me, what do I mean by the traditional linear take, make, and dispose model? So this is the model whereby we extract resources such as petroleum. We produce petrochemical products such as plastic, and we dispose them into the environment, causing economical environmental pollutions and damages. So that is one of the traditional linear take, make, and dispose model we've all imbibed in across the world. So now the world is now shifting to a circular economy, whereby such that we've seen as waste can now be seen as a resources or for a new product and process. So by harnessing the potential of waste, this approach aims to reduce the resource depletion. What I mean by that is that in some locations you may hear by, now, just like as for instance, plastic. We at a point you might get to some countries whereby they might not have sufficient petrochemical product to produce more plastic based on the fact that they've extracted and extract. So all these things have limits. But what if there are some other products that can replace this thing, or in such a way that whereby this waste that has been disposed into the environment can also be used, then recycled or repurposed or whatsoever, then transform it into a new product or or serve as an input for for a new solution. So it will reduce how much we source for resources and minimize pollution, because we all know what plastic is doing in our environment. It clogs our waterways for allowing easy water flow, which causes floods within our community. And at the same time, those the particles of plastic that goes into the ocean are being consumed by fish. So, and when we consume that, it causes cancer due to the fact that these are petrochemical products that have effects on our health, and also, and at the same time, it affects biodiversity in what way, like we can see all these polyethylene nylons whereby they get into the oceans and they might strangle or strangle ocean habitats, and then they might die. So, and all these things, all these ocean habitats has significant impact or role they play in allowing our coexistence to work more efficiently. So when they all go into extinct, it has a way of telling on us in terms of economic benefits, in terms of nutrients, in terms. So when we kill all these things and when we unintentionally or intentionally dispose of this plastic and have this like they equally bounce back to us and affect us as humans and environment. So it's with this now, if we can adopt a circular economy, it will foster sustainable development, which means that there will be more cheaper resources, there will be more sustainable economy that won't be looking for resources all here and there, because it's so sure that those resources, as they are being being generated as waste, they've equally been assessed and seen as resources to be input into a new product, to be repurposed into a new product, to be to be recycled. That's just it. So one of the key advantages of waste to waste is the ability to generate economic benefit. Economic benefits and opportunities through innovative technology and processes. So waste materials can be recovered, recycled, repurposed into valuable products or energy sources. So, waste as well. And we all know about what energy is to us in this country. Over 90% of over 90 million people still do not have access to electricity. And this is a country of 200 million people, which means that 200 million people is creating waste daily. And there's about 32 tons of waste generated in Nigeria. Over 45% of it is organic. So, and there's plastic waste, there are glass waste. What if this organic waste could be converted into energy source? What if this plastic could be converted into energy source? So many things can be done. So many innovative technologies and processes can be put in place to help achieve this. This will help create a new industry, create job opportunity, because when we start when we start to what's the right word for this? When we start to capture this economy, I mean the circular economy, it will create a new industry, not from the conventional ones or the traditional ones we are used to, not maybe like phasing out fossil fuel into renewable energy. So this new economy will require new skills. So would require new skills, and when those skills are required, more youth can be employed, trained, then they will be able to provide job for themselves and for their loved ones and so on. And it will also generate revenue, because when we talk about economy, we are not talking about it until we talk about income generation. So for the income that is being generated to the economy, it should actually advance the GDP of the people and at the same time contribute to the well-being, to reduce poverty of people living within that community or country as a whole. So you can begin to see the reason why we need to take the approach of taking waste and seeing it as the resources and using that resources to create a new economy that is sustainable, that minimizes pollution and also reduce resource depletion. So this, for example, let me put an example. Let's take, for instance, now we have a recycling facility that is established to collect and process recyclable materials. So this will provide employment for individuals involved in the collection, because during the collection process, there are some that will go on field to go and collect the waste and there is a certain stage. So the certain stage equally need people to sort out waste of different categories and how they and to be processed. So when they are processing this waste, there is another manpower that is needed to actually achieve this. In all this value chain, all this waste value chain, it will create jobs for these individuals, for youth individuals, for women in those communities, and it will help eradicate poverty and also improve the quality of life of that very community. Additionally, the development of waste to energy plants also allow generation of electricity or heat by utility by utilizing organic waste or non-recyclable materials as well. So let's take, for instance, the example of a waste to energy solution can be a biogas, whereby a municipal community can actually decide that, okay, the old waste that is coming out from this community can be converted into gas and also be plowed back into that community for cooking, heating, or even generating electricity. Yeah, it's actually possible. And we've seen that a lot. And even though for the fact that it's not well practiced in the African country as it is, but when we look at countries like Asia, they are big on waste to energy, such as biogas. India, to be more precise, has done a lot of innovation around biogas to about CNG to be compressed into cylinders that can be sold back into the community. Even injected into the gas grid as well. So many more like that. So those reduce the dependency on fossil fuel and also contribute to energy security in those locations where these initiatives are being carried out. So so this waste to energy now, with all this being said, there's someone that needs to carry out this very thing because everything can't just be done by the government. We need innovative hands, we need entrepreneurs who would now take up the challenge and find a way to break into these new markets and bring about new solutions that will bring the best of their entrepreneurship ability and innovation. So it will encourage the exploration of novel ideas and the development of technology to extract minimum value from maximum value, from waste materials. So it will help identify untapped markets, like create new markets, like market that you weren't aware that is readily available for you to capture. So it will open your eyes to new markets and create innovative business models centers around waste management and resource recovery. I think that is clear. And it drives economic growth, but also foster a culture of sustainability and environmental conscious community or country, whichever case it may be.
Hello, sir. We can no longer hear you from this end. Okay, can you all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I believe it's a network issue. would have to exercise a little patience, so we'll know if he'll be able to join back and continue the section.
Yeah, I'm very, very sorry about that. I'm very, very sorry about that.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Welcome. Welcome back.
So, sorry, minutes. So, as I said, it will help stimulate entrepreneurship and innovative environments, whereby we'll have more entrepreneurs that will identify untapped markets, and we'll be able to exploit with more innovative and more technology to extract maximum value from waste materials. So it will, along the run, it will increase the probably to increase the income of the company in the long run with such innovative approach. So it will not just, as I said, it won't just drive economic growth, but also foster culture and sustainability and environmental conscious community. So this has the potential to reduce the cost of business, implementing waste reduction and recycling patches. So they can lower their expenses related to waste disposal, raw material acquisition, and energy consumption. So this is how waste to wealth can even be adopted in existing business or not, and also the approach for a new business enterprise. When you want to, you should see a way where it will help you implement waste reduction and recycling practice within that organization. Companies so that you can lower your expense on waste disposal, raw material acquisition, whereby those things that you always dispose of, most times most times, how can you start looking at it? What resources can it be to establishment to your organization? How can you now convert those things? How can you capture value from it? So businesses start looking out for such innovative products to reduce their expense in the long run, profitability, and make the business more sustainable as well. So this it also it will enhance the competitiveness of the business, especially when it requires when it is in a sector that is heavily rely on resources of waste treatment, environmental regulation. So in conclusion, I would say waste to wealth offer a promising approach to address environmental challenges with while simultaneously creating economic opportunity. by shifting from a linear model to a circular economy. Waste can be transformed into value, resources, drive innovation, entrepreneurship, job creation, and cost of savings. Embracing waste to wealth can contribute to sustainable development, resource conservation, and the transition to a more resilient and prosperous um, economy. So that is it on the whole concept of waste to wealth economy. We should shift from the behavioral thought of waste as being used, as we should shift into something that we see it as resources. Because when we start seeing it as resources, that is when we now place a value on it. When we see this plastic as not just a waste after you've consumed the water in it or the drinks or the juice, and you throw it away. Probably if maybe you can exchange it for incentives that might offer some other benefit for you, maybe in terms of health. It might be in terms of health insurance. It can be because I've seen startups that have developed innovations whereby they collect waste from communities and use it to offer health insurance for such communities to get local drugs. So there are so many models you can adopt, but you need to understand what you are actually trying to achieve with your waste to wealth innovation or opportunity. So you must firstly look at what do you want to achieve before trying to navigate through the process. So that is that about that. So I would like to talk about the importance of waste management practice in mitigating climate change and achieving sustainable development goals. So we all understand what sustainable development goals is, and we know that there's 17 goals that needs to be achieved by 2030, and we are all on the race to make these all goals be achievable. And the impact of waste management can be underrepresented in achieving these goals. So what is waste management? So this waste management plays a practical this waste management plays a crucial role in mitigating climate change and achieving sustainable development goals. The effective management of waste help to reduce greenhouse gas. So you might want to ask, how does that occur? Conserve energy resources, protect the ecosystem, promote circular economy, and would exploit the importance of waste management practice in more details as I go along with my presentation. So firstly, I said contribute to the greenhouse gas emission, and so improper waste disposal of waste, and also such as open dumping or burning, whereby you have some dump sites or some illegal dump sites in your communities, whereby everybody just burn at will, and it's not well managed. Over time, these things can, and when the waste are being left there over time, it shrink out a chemical substance called leachate that contaminate the underground water. So community within that very community now start taking water that is being contaminated with an hazardous chemical substance. So that's one. So secondly, when these waste we dispose, such as food waste and this, when they decompose, they emit harmful greenhouse gas such as methane gas, nitrogen oxide, and so on. So when these are being emitted, they contribute to the greenhouse gas emission. And I can tell you, methane gas is even 25 times more potent compared to carbon dioxide. So on that methane gas, you might see some communities whereby we all like to eat meat. About 6,000 meats have been slaughtered in Lagos, in Nigeria. Lagos, Nigeria, every day alone. So imagine the amount of waste in terms of when they slaughter these animals and they take out those waste. Most of these waste are being dumped into the water. I mean, the river flowing behind the abattoirs. So, and what this does is that it pollutes the water too as well, and it kills these water habitats, and so it also affects the health of we humans because we interact with these waters day by day. Some of them are most of households in Nigeria does not equally have access to clean water. So these places are always where they go for their water. So such as it also give room for virus to spread within community when they access such water. So there's a lot that is happening by we just improperly disposing our waste and within our communities. So it affects us as human beings by spreading disease. It affects the climate by affecting the climate. So we all know that before the pre-industrial era, climate change is normal, but after the discovery of petroleum in the 1800s, that was when climate change is being more significantly what's it called, changed by as a result of all this fossil fuel burn. Fossil fuel is likely being triggered as a result of using fossil fuel because of the carbon emission. You know, when we talk about climate change, when we have seasons such as raining, dry, and we have the Harmattan, these are climate change, natural. These are natural phenomena. Climate must change from day to night. The climate change. So when the weather change from one to another, climate has already changed. But it has been significantly affected by fossil fuel since the discovery of this. So that is why in some moments, let's say for December period, whereby we should experience Harmattan, December and January, you might not. In these days, we don't even experience climate change. We don't experience Harmattan during those periods anymore. Maybe towards the end of the last 2 weeks of February, you might start experiencing this Harmattan, and you will be like, at this point in time, just for 2 weeks, and the whole thing is gone again. And you will be like, what is happening? You don't even understand the weather anymore. It has affected our farmers in such a way that when it should have rained, they expect rain, be planted because they know the weather pattern and they understand that, okay, as at this point in time, it will start raining and it will end. But when they planted, thinking that, okay, it should be raining, but it might not be at that point in time and result to floods. And when it rains, it floods their farm and take away their goods. So it will create loss in those communities. So dumping, burning, when we burn those things as I said, we emit carbon dioxide, as we all know. So burning of those things will release significant amount of methane and carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. And so methane, as I said, methane is a potent greenhouse gas for those who don't know, and it is produced by decomposing organic waste in landfills. So by implementing a proper waste management techniques, like landfill capture, where we capture the methane gas and anaerobic digestion, whereby we collect those waste and digest them through an aerobic digestion system digester. So it will be able to capture the methane emission and can be used as energy source, because this methane gas, when it's being cleaned and purified, is interchangeable with liquefied petroleum gas. So we can start using that to run generators, start using that to cook in households, start using that to be injected into our gas grid to increase our energy mix. So there's a lot more we can achieve while if we start to implement circular principle, or we try to avoid this waste from getting to landfill, and we capturing them for purpose, and repurposing them for new material or as a raw material for other inputs. So it will help mitigate this climate change, because when we've avoided this greenhouse gas from escaping, we've now utilized them as resources. So the emission that should have been openly decomposed and so openly emitted into the atmosphere, contributing to the climate change. So we've tried to mitigate that by doing that. So secondly, waste management promotes resource conservation. Many materials in waste streams, such as paper, plastic, and metal, can be recycled and used as raw material for new products. So you can begin to understand when you see these scavengers. I'm sorry if that word is not polite, I don't know. But we see people whereby they carry sack, and you see them with probably an iron rod, or at times you see them with a magnet rolling it on the floor. So what they are trying to do is to pick out metals within those communities, and when they do, they sell it, they get value. When they sell those things, they earn a living with it, and those things are being taken back to where they are being recycled back into new roads we use in our buildings, we use in building roads, to improve our infrastructural development. So you can begin to see how we can now tap into these resources. Paper too, you can see they are being recycled to make new ones. Plastic, they might recycle all these plastic drinks to make chairs, tables, and you even see whereby we've seen innovations whereby what's it called? Tires from cars were being recycled back to furniture. So there's a lot that you can begin to get as you begin to explore. I can tell you one thing I can tell you for free is that the opportunity in the waste recycling mitigation, it's enormous, and it has so many economic benefits depending on where you're looking at it from. So recycling reduces the need for extracting and processing virgin resources, as I said, like converting of waste to methane gas that can be injected into gas grid. And so it might save us the need to even start to start training gas from the trying to train the ground again that will pollute our farms, that would emit some harmful gas during the process. And so a lot of energy is being channeled in, and at the same time, the fossil fuel economy is not sustainable. Why don't we shift into probably taking waste, food waste, converting it into gas, then apply it back into the economy to phase out fossil fuels, wheresoever it might be. So we can start seeing it as reducing processing virgin resources. So it will lead to energy savings and reducing greenhouse gas associated with resource extraction, and furthermore, the recovery of valuable materials from waste contribute to circular economy, where resources are used efficiently and waste is minimized. So waste management can also help protect ecosystem as a whole and human health. Improper management of waste can contaminate the soil, as I've said earlier, such as probably biochemical products, improper into the water, or pharmaceutical wastewater into the rivers and the oceans. You understand? All these things have side effects on human's health and ecosystem because they kills they limit biodiversity, and they pollute the soil and the water bodies and the air, posing risks to biodiversity and human well-being. Um, so let's take for instance now. Have you ever imagined drinking from your food? It is irritating, right? So I bet it is. So this is, however, the situation facing over 90% of households in Nigeria. And this is as a result of the use of local septic tanks, whose content goes into the ground and which contaminates the nearby wells and borehole. So you can soak away that we use at home now. So this has a side effect. And one more thing I need to add is that this leads to 17,000 children's deaths annually. This is the highest number ever recorded for any nation. So you can imagine the improper waste disposal we have adopted that is a norm in everybody's home. We are trying to play safe. You have a house, you build a house, you have a septic tank at home. Or in as much that septic tank you still have at home is actually reducing is actually affecting your health negatively. So because over time, when you use the septic tank, it strips out water at the base of it, and that water can contaminate the nearby wells or another water source. And then with research shows that according to UNICEF, there are about 10,000 viruses that might be contacted through such waste management, such as the local septic tank. So there should be an alternative to such that will be affordable and more sustainable, that will treat our human waste in our households and improve our quality of life. So proper waste management solution is what we can adopt in this very sector, I would say, and improve on that, probably replacing it or finding alternatives. And this is where innovators, entrepreneurs now needs to come in to find solution and that will help solve such great problems we are facing in our communities. So even for people that stays in waterlogged or flood prone environments, would actually have more effects on, based on the fact that when it's flood as well, you might have there might be a chance whereby the water goes into the septic tank as well. And since when we defecate, before the disease in our body goes alongside with this with the poo into the septic tank. So the septic tanks serve as a breeding ground for these pathogens. So when it floods, let's say for instance now in a flood community, and those pathogens or viruses has really taken, they have colonized such septic. So the flood will just go into the septic and take all these diseases and spread it within this community. So you might have a child still playing that does not know one or two, might just pick up things from the floor, get contacted by this virus and fall ill. And we don't know, we won't lose a child. A child might die as a result of that. So these are problems as a result that, and how it affects our health and also the ecosystem in such a way that, okay, when these waste too are being, because in some locations that I said that are prone to flood or they are waterlogged community, this septic tank might need to be evacuated time without numbers, maybe once a year. So when they take up this waste, the research shows that where they dispose this waste are into the ocean. So it has effect on it pollutes the water and limits biodiversity. And that is how it affects our ecosystem, because we are not having access to clean water. The water is contaminated, and the health begins to deteriorate as we continue to consume these things. And this is the reason why we need to find a more sustainable approach to whatsoever we might be doing. There are so many things we've neglected. We saw it as norms, but which are not so. So we should try to, and which I've just quoted an example as a result of the septic tank we use at home. So waste management is closely linked to sustainable development. The United Nations Sustainable Development Goals emphasize the importance of responsible consumption and production, as we all know, which includes sustainable water management, proper waste management practice, contributing to several SDGs, such as sustainable cities and community, responsible consumption and production, climate action, so clean water and sanitation. It has an intersection with so many other SDG goals. By managing waste effectively, communities can improve their public health, create job opportunities in the recycling and waste management sector, and enhance the overall environmental sustainability. So I get, because I've talked about how it affects us in terms of health. I've talked about how it has created more jobs in our community through this waste value chain. And I've talked about how it has helped bring about economic development and overall environmental and sustainability. So in conclusion, I would like to say that waste management strategies are essential for mitigating climate change and achieving sustainable development goals through reducing greenhouse gas emission. And I talked about how that is like mitigating the emission of this carbon dioxide that might have emitted from open dumping of these waste or burning them. And and also it will help conserve resources by converting what we see as waste for now, and we've now identified it as resources and being utilizing it as instead of now going to extract a new one that might require some sort of energy consumption. So by doing so, it will reduce the energy consumption, because if you are to go and get a new waste from one place to another, there's a lot of process that will go into it and requires a lot of energy input or resources as well. So it might reduce, it might improve on your savings, it might reduce on sourcing for raw materials, while conserving what the nature and actually taking use of what has been seen as waste and utilizing it as resources. So it protects the ecosystem, because when we start to put in this waste management practice into our system, it will protect the system, it will reduce pollution, and would it will encourage more biodiversity, and at the same time promoting circular economy. Effective waste management can have a significant positive impact on the environment and society. Government, business, individuals should prioritize implementing proper waste management practice and techniques to address the challenge of climate change, resource depletion, environmental degradation. By doing so, we can pave a way towards more sustainable and resilient future. So let me tell you more about a case study of waste to energy solutions you might want to check out for my startup at Green Renewables. We are trying to solve, as I said at the beginning, we are solving waste and energy problems in Africa. using technology as our forerunner. And one of the very ways we've been doing that is by developing, design and developing life-changing biotechnology solutions to solve these waste and energy challenges using technology. So we've designed biogas solutions for captive powers. We design in such a way by we look for agriculture. We play in the agricultural sector, in the real estate as well. So we help communities develop a municipal waste management system whereby we convert their organic waste from their community into clean energy to meet their daily energy needs for cooking, eating. By designing biogas plants, we also partners with farmers to help them reduce their waste, such as I'm trying to share a video of a solution we did for an abattoir whereby we convert their waste into biogas. So they won't need to source for energy again. The waste they generated from the slaughter waste is being used to meet the energy needs and in that very facility. I'm sorry, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen, sir.
So this is a biogas facility whereby we convert abattoir waste. And this is a balloon, 20 cubic meter balloon. The waste is being filled with biogas solution. So this biogas solution is what we use to meet the daily energy needs in that abattoir for processing of that meat and for generating electricity, because there's a mini farm there. I'm going to play another video. There's a mini farm there whereby they use it to cool for their storage, cold storage facilities as well, generate electricity, processing of, storing of their processed foods and the likes. So there's a lot that can be achieved. Let me spot the video and share it with you. So that's one of how we've been doing it. If you could remember, I talked about the excuse me, sorry. So this is Abyss Farm in Lagos here. So this is their slaughter where they slaughter the animals. So help them all the slaughter waste is being converted into gas. This is where they actually just finally push out the whole cows, and this is where this is where they process they push out the cow after it has slaughtered at the slaughtering room there. So we take the whole waste and convert it to energy. So they use it to generate electricity. They use it for their cold storage. They use it to power their farms. Look at the mini markets that they have there. So they generate electricity conveniently. They won't have to spend money on generating electricity any longer. They won't have to spend money to buy diesel. They don't have any problem with that, because the slaughterhouse, they slaughter about 7 cows per day in this very slaughterhouse. So this waste is more than enough to help them power their facility. So imagine whereby more organizations like this, like poultry farms, can adopt this solution. They can equally use it to pump water for their poultry, to process their foods, to process the chickens, to refrigerate them, store them when necessary. So there's a lot that can be done that can be achieved while adopting waste to energy solution. So these are how we want new innovators to start innovating. And innovation does not just stop here. We need to keep innovating and finding better ways to solve customer solutions. And one of the very key things I want to keep in is that we must try to see on how we can leverage technologies, this new technology, the AI, the IoT, and the likes. How can we use it to better position our company to better scale and build a world-class business by leveraging on such technology. So these are ways I want innovators like us to actually start looking out, to start in terms of innovating. So I think I'll stop that for now. So there is another one. I talked about I said, have you ever imagined drinking from your pool? So it is irritating, right? I bet it is. This is, however, the situation facing over 90% of households in Nigeria, drinking water contaminated with 10,000 viruses. As a result of this one, 17,000 children die annually, which is the highest number for any nation. So this is why we've developed loop box innovation too. So places like flood-prone environments or waterlogged community now have issue whereby their water is being contaminated, their water is not clean as a result of the septic tank they have spent their money in building, which is also degrading their health. So this is why we built loop box. So loop box will help you treat this waste and recycle it into biogas. So this biogas can be used for cooking, eating, and eating in bedrooms and lighting of bulbs. So imagine whereby the waste from your home can be co-digested. I mean, your food waste and your human excreta will be co-digested in a solution called loop box to treat it, help you solve water contamination, improve quality of life, and access to clean energy in locations and prone areas to climate change, such as flood and waterlogged community, whereby with this solution now, it won't allow your water being contaminated anymore. So these are part of innovations, and there are so many more in the plastic recycling, taking out this plastic from the economy and recycling it or upcycling it or repurposing it, such as the tires, whereby it's being converted into furniture. They have just repurposed it into something new. And that is how new economies are being built. So I think I don't want to waste a lot of our time. I would like to welcome question here. I ask you all to join the move to close the waste circularity loop, improve the quality of life as we build climate resilient community in Africa. Thanks. Thank you, everyone. Hello.
We can hear you, sir.
Yeah, I think I'm true. To receive questions now. So
Okay. If you want to ask your question, you can use the emoji symbol of raising up your hand, or you can drop your message in the chat box so that he'll answer some of our questions.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we have one question in the chat box. Asime dropped a question about biotechnology. Is it for sustained improvement of the methodologies involved in biogas process? Okay, sir, you're on mute. We can't hear you.
So I said what I talked about biotechnology is how we are using biotechnology solution to capture value from waste by converting waste, organic waste, into bioenergy, biological energy, such as methane gas. So what we do with is not it is not for sustained improvement. It is for purifying the biogas. You know, when we digest waste in an aerobic digestion process, what it does is that the whole thing it helps you capture the gases that from those wastes. So the whole waste is called biogas. So in order to, there's a form of purification that needs to be done in order to capture the methane gas. So it's that methane gas that is interchangeable with natural liquefied petroleum gas that can be injected into pipelines and serve industrial area or residential area where gas energy is being needed, or even in, compressed into cylinders as bio CNG, compressed natural gas. So that is what I said about that. If I'm not clear with yours, with my answers, you might want to rephrase the question. I'll be glad to talk about it more.
I think someone is raising up his hand. Okay, Asime, you can unmute yourself now and speak.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Thank you for an excellent in-depth presentation. Yeah, my question, I asked the question of strain improvement because you know, during the presentation, you talked about biotechnology, but I understand your point now. Why I said strain improvement, because I know that there are microorganisms in the process of the biogas. If not, there will not be anything such as biogas, because the microorganisms are responsible for the methane process. I think while I was in school, we did a pilot lab scale research about biogas. So I understand the biotechnology aspect, you know, making it abundant for others for consumption. And thank you very much.
You're welcome. So you're very welcome.
I don't know, is there a way of maybe if, because this is the first time I'm, as you're presenting, I don't know about your startup company, but I will look into it. But do you do training, and if people are interested in, because what we face in Nigeria is, you know, mostly we do research, but in terms of the making what we do in the lab available for consumption for maybe like thousands of people is something that the industry and academia have to do together.
Yeah, sure. For us, we do training too as well. we train people on how to develop this solution. And in terms of biogas, we train people on how to develop biogas, both small and large scale developments. And we also consult, we build biogas plants for abattoir, for municipalities, for farms, ranch, cow ranch, slaughterhouse, piggery farms, poultry farms, palm oil farms. So we have wide range of service across those sectors. We can help you, we can train you on how to design biogas solution. We can train and we can help you develop it as well. We can sponsor for you. And for my company, I'm trying to share my slide now so you can just see. You might want to check us out on social media. So this is our, are you seeing my screen? Hello, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir, I can see your screen.
So this is we can follow us on Ali Green on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Ali Green Renewables. We are also on LinkedIn as well as Ali Green Renewables. So you can send us information or call us at 08160238021. You can send an email to us. And while sending an email, you might want to send it to both emails. So we are just here to help you out. Let's hear from you, let's partner. And one of the sustainable goals is finding the partnership for goals, which is the 17th sustainable development goals. So we are looking for partners. We want to see how youth organization can come together, create solutions, whether in solving water contamination in household, whether in solving municipal waste problem, whether in solving agricultural waste, whether in solving pharmaceutical waste, wastewater, all sorts of waste like that. We are ready and we are much welcome. We much welcome other youths. We embrace our partnership to achieve sustainable development goals. And we'll be happy to help. We'll be happy to learn from you as well. Any other question?
Okay, thank you so much, sir, for that in-depth explanation. I think we have one more question from Jonathan.
Okay.
And he says, are there any specific policies or regulations in place at the national or international level to support and incentives waste to wealth initiatives? If there are, what could be the roles of the youth contributing to these policies?
Yeah, as it is now, there's a lot of international organization. Now you might have seen one or two around incentivizing. It might be through grants. So the government might tend to incentivize a sector probably through grants or tax leave or whatsoever, probably on the national level. But for recycling, Nigeria, as it is, we don't really have a structured pathway on like it is for let's say petroleum. We don't have it for when you recycle these. This is how the government will support you. Even when the government will tell you that okay, for every product you import into the countries, as in a machinery for building such economy, that okay, there might be a tax relief for it. But when you get to the port, another thing you will be hearing from the custom. So I think there is no unified say on that as that it is for Nigeria for now. So, but you might want to leverage on for now is to check out for grants out there that will help you build your businesses, incentivize it, and help you pay your staffs, help you buy those tools and needs to take your business to the other level, because business and new business sectors like this need to be incentivized in order to scale their solutions. And what the very main contribution youth needs is to lead this economy, is to position themselves as because it's no news that youth has been seen to be more innovative. Our approach are different. The way we see things are different. So, and we know we are the first generation to actually feel the impact of climate change. So telling our stories shouldn't be quite difficult for us to be able to, and how, because we know these stories is happening to us, it's happening to us on a daily, on day-to-day activities. So in order to change this narrative, I think with our experience, we are in best position to innovate. We are in the best position to champion this change. We are in the best position to talk about these problems in our community and what is needed in terms of policy, advisory, in terms of advisory notes. Just youth need to be represented in all arms, both in the government and down to the entrepreneurs, because if we say we all want to be in the entrepreneurship arm, and the people in the government don't really understand what is going on with youth of our age in entrepreneurship, they won't be able to help us well. But if youths are also included in government, included in policy shaping, we'll be able to create a more and a sustainable and more robust economy through putting our heads together, through our experience, and that has shaped us to this very moment. We put those things to table to bring about better policy, better solution, and better economy. I hope that answers your question. Jonathan.
Okay. Yeah, Jonathan. I hope you like
And one more thing again, upskilling. There are so many skills you can also acquire to be part of this. You might want to leverage technology. So you might want to take some special role around carbon capture to carbon credits. See how carbon credits can incentivize your operations too as well. So you might want to look into that, and it's not well explored in this part of the world. So if carbon credit too is explored to the fullest, I think there's a lot of incentivization might be doing to you, to one's business, at it from that angle.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, sir, for that wonderful presentation. For now, I think there is no more question from anybody for now, and we'll come to the conclusion of this webinar section. We would have taken one more speaker, but time is no longer on our side.
Okay.
Yes, but we are going to continue the second part of this webinar section on Thursday. On Thursday, we are going to continue the second part. We're going to have some other speakers join in, and I hope Network will give a good number of us chance to actively participate on Thursday, because we'll have to schedule the timing for evening so that it will give
Can come in.
others to join in. So thank you so much, sir, and I hope others that are here were able to grasp knowledge from your presentation. I did from my own end, and I'm hoping that others did as well. Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome, madam. Welcome, madam. Okay. It's good to be here once again. Thank you very much for having me. So glad to have presented with you all.
Okay, thank you. I don't know if there is anybody here who would want to connect with you on LinkedIn and maybe ask further questions, but
Okay.
you can drop your profile on the chat box and they will reach out to you.
Okay. LinkedIn. I'll copy the link and just drop it here now, so we can always connect on LinkedIn. That's one of the best ways.
Okay, yeah, I can see the link on the chat box. So we can all go ahead and connect with LinkedIn, send them a message and ask further questions. That we've come to the end of this webinar section, and okay, Asime said he can't see the link. Okay, so I think he sent it directly to me.
Okay, I'm doing that now.
Yes. Okay, can we all see the link now? Okay, thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful presentation. I think with that, we've come to the end of this webinar section, and we hope to have you on board on Thursday for a similar section here. Thank you so much, sir. And thank you everyone for joining me on this section.